Yeah, hello. Good afternoon, all of you. So today we have discussed about most one of the most important topic, and that is inheritance. Okay. So when we talk about inheritance, so very first question arises. So why there is a need of inheritance? So when we discuss about the different feature of object-oriented programming system, and when we discuss at earlier session that why we are to move on object-oriented programming system when we already have a procedure-oriented. So one important point we discuss at that time, and that is a reusability. So the thing is that reusability. So the uh, when we talk about that reusability, so reusability is nothing but use the existing code, okay, reuse or use the existing code. When we have to use the existing code, okay, then there is the concept of inheritance. So there are the different types of inheritance. We will take a look of this one by one, no doubt. So what exactly reusability? So that if you have a software which already banking software which are used to calculate the rate of interest, withdraw amount, deposit amount, and all the other things. So, when you have to design or develop the software for the other banking system or the other financial organization, so what do you have to do changes? You have to do changes in rate of interest, or you have to do the changes in some or more the rate which vary between the two different banking systems. But the all other process, that means to deposit, to withdraw, then loan amount, rate of interest process, so all are the more or less the same thing. So for that we use the reusability concept. Okay, so it saves lots of time also. So hello. Hello. बट पेस्ट टाइप व्हॅल्यूज केलाय ना. तर व्हॅल्यूज मध्ये तर आपलं सगळं टोटल वगैरे आपण सगळं तिथनंच कॉपी केलंय ना. So when we say about the inheritance, so the inheritance is used to use the existing code. That means if you have a banking software which have the already a code and we have to go for the new banking client, so we can use the existing code with which we have, and we use the same code in the new software. So it uses the lots of time. So for inheritance, uh, there are some time. One is the single level inheritance, single level inheritance. So in single level inheritance, only one is the base class, or we can say that it's parent class and one subclass, that is a child class. Okay. So one base class and one child class. So it's a single level inheritance. When we talk about the multi-level inheritance, so in multi-level inheritance, one base class, one subclass, child class, and it have again one subclass. So in this case, there are the multiple hierarchy. That means one base class and multiple child class, one base class and multiple child class. So in single level, one parent, one child. Okay. In multi-level, one base, multiple subclass. In third type of inheritance, that is an multiple inheritance. So when we talk about multiple inheritance, two parent class and one child class. So here is one parent class, then one more parent class, and it give one child class. So likewise, there are the three types of inheritance you have to study in this way. Okay. So in very first example, we are going to discuss about single level inheritance. So in single level inheritance, we create one base class, that is employee. Okay. In employee, it has a data member like name, age, and basic salary. Okay. And this employee have one subclass, that is say salary. Okay. And it has a data member like say DA, HRA, and GS, gross salary. Okay. So logic is that two classes are there. So depending on this first class data member, you have to calculate the HRA and GS. So DA is what, 10%, 10%. So we can write 51 of basic salary. HRA, we can say it's a 15%. So let's say HRA equal to 15% means say 0.15 of basic salary. And the last one is what, a gross salary. So it's a combination or the addition of all this. So it's basic salary plus DA plus HRA. So in this way, we have to calculate these all things in the same class. Okay. Now, when we are going to develop a program on this, so the important thing is that we require the basic salary. Okay, and basic salary is towards the base class. So what happened now? The important point is that you have to keep in mind when we're talking about the object oriented programming system. So the important concern is what a security. Okay, so security is what it's a important concern. Now for the same reason, for the same reason, it provides two access specifier, public and private. Okay, so private contains the data member and public contain the member function, and the function of the same class can access the data member. Okay, what I am trying to say, it's very 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 much important. Okay, so when we say that the object of the same class can access the data member of that class by using the member functions. Okay, is this clear? Now here basic salary is the data member of the class employee. Okay, basic salary is the data member of class employee, and we are going to use that basic salary data member in the class salary. Okay, we are going to use that data member into class salary. Okay, so both the classes are different one. Both the classes are different one, but still we need to use that data member in the class salary. So now one data member we have to use in the another class, but object oriented programming system or oops or in C++, it clearly mentioned that only the object of the same class can access the data member. Now the big question is arise, salary is the different class, employee is the different class, basic salary is the part of employee, and we have to use that in the class salary. So how can we use it? So it can be implemented by using inheritance. It can be implemented only by using inheritance. So we have to use the concept of inheritance, and it's a single level inheritance because it has a single class employee and single class salary. So employee and salary are the same class. Okay, we have to use it. So we are going for the coding now. It's important exam point of no, campus point of view because the many questions can are asked on inheritance. Okay, so you have to just understand it properly. Okay. So first we include the file iostream.h. Second, again we include a file hash include onio.h. Okay. Now we define first a base class. So our base class is employee. So let's say employee. It has a public and private data member. So we first define the uh, private data member here. Okay. So here private data member. So name. So we type care name as its name 20. Then let's say one more variable age. So int age. And one more is the basic salary. So float BS. Okay, this three are the data member. Image and BS. Then public part. So in public, we have a read method to read all these data members. So void read enter name agent basic salary. See out here we just print a message. So enter name, age, and basic salary. Okay. So C in, so it's a name. Then C in, so it's age. C in is the basic salary. So these three are the uh, data member. Now, as we told that one more function we have to define here, that is the right to print all these parameters. So void right cout name, so its name, then cout page, so this one is the page. Yes, these are the name age and basic salary. Now, as I told that we required the basic salary, so we have to create one function. By accessing that function, we can get the value of the basic salary. So basic salary may be in float. So let's say RETBS and return BS. So we write it's in a basic salary. So now one class is over here. Now we required another class, that is say salary. Okay. Now first class we create EMP, second class is salary. Now we have to inherit all the functions of this class into the salary class. So we have to use this colon and public of EMP. Now we require to calculate DHRA and uh, gross salary. Public EMP plus salary. One is the private part. The private part contains DHRA and gross salary. So float DA. Other one is the HRA, and the last one is the gross salary. So public. To calculate, we use one function. So that is a void calculate. So void calculate. So this function we have to use to calculate all this string, that is a DHRA and GS1 is a gross salary. So here we have to call the function RETBS. So now it's important one. This is the important thing which we have to understand. Now when we have calculate DA, which is a 10%, so we have to multiply it by 0.1. 10% means 0.1. Presently, basic salary BS is not in the class salary; it is in class employee. But we want it into the class salary, so we inherit the class EMP into class salary. But we can directly access then also basic salary because it's in the private part. Okay, so we create one function in the same class EMP with the name RATBS, and now this function can be used by the class which inherit that EMP class, because in inheritance only the public part can inherit it, private part cannot be inherited directly. Okay, so if you read this statement public EMP, that means it only inherit the public part of the employee. So it inherit the public part of the employee. Okay, so RATBS is in the public section of the class employee, so it's possible to use this in the class. Okay, so in this way we have right here the function RATBS into point 1. Now when we write HRA, so it's a RATBS into 0.15 into 0.15, 15%. Last one is the gross salary. So it is the addition of all these three. So RETBS plus DA plus HRA. Okay. Okay. So it's the void calculate function. Now when we have need to uh, display, so we use the function void display. See out. Now remember, TBS we already print. Now we have to print DA, HRA, and GS. So we write here DA. Okay, and it is in DA. Then backslash n. Then again see out array. So again we print array, and then cross salary. See out. backslash. This is all about to display the function which calculate in earlier DHR and GS. In earlier function calculate, so we display it. Now we display all this. Now we have to need to access all these functions. Okay, so to access all these functions, we need to create the object. Okay, now object is always called with respect to what? With respect to class. Okay, because object is the runtime entity, so object is called with respect to class. Now question arises here. You have the two classes. One is the salary and another one is the employee. Okay, so which object we have to create? So we always create the derived class object or the child class object. So what is the reason to create an object of child class or to create an object of derived class and not the base class? Because child class always contain the property of the base class or the feature of the base class. So as child class contain the properties and the features of the base class, so we just need to create the object, and by creating the object we can access the features or the functions of the base classes. Okay, so for the same purpose we need to create the object of the class salary. So as to create the object we require a main function, so void main. So after that we require to create an object. So our class is salary, our base class is salary. So we just create salary s1. Okay, then s1 dot that we return. Now s1 dot read method is there, then s1 dot write method is there. We did one calculate method, so s1 dot calculate, and then s1 dot display. Okay, calculate and display all method is here. And finally we have to print the method getCH. After display method we have to just the getCH, so that it will hold the output on the output screen. For this we write the method getCH. Employee dot cp. Okay, compile. So as no error, and when we run this, so enter the name, say Rahul, age say 34, salary say 3400. These are the all related information: Rahul, age, basic salary, and then we calculate DHRA and total gross salary. Okay, so keep in mind that in this program we have created two different classes. Okay, one is the one is the employee class and another one is the child class. Okay, so employee class and child class are the two different classes we are created here. Okay, employee and salary are the two classes we created here, and that employee class we inherited in the salary class. So our child class is nothing but the salary class. Okay, so don't confuse, child class and salary class both are the same here. So okay, so these are the syntax of our program. The important thing is that again we create one function retbs, just return the basic salary value or the bs value to the subclass, that is the salary class. Okay, and in this, from that class we calculate all what is the da, what is hra, and what is the gs. So we calculate and we print it. So these are the syntax or the structure of our program. Similarly, we can go for the student class also, and where we can calculate result of the student about he pass or fail, and as per that as per that we can calculate the percentage also. Okay, so just take some different type of program, that is student. Here two to three new things which we have to discuss in the this program, but before that you have to just take a look if you hand it out, so you can ask me a question also. Okay, now what is our next task or what is our next program? So it is again based on the uh, single level inheritance. The different thing is that we have to implement some different logic in it. Okay, so what exactly we have to do in that, just take a look of this. Now in this class we have the one base class, that is student, and one subclass, that is a result. So this class is student. So in student there are total 5 data members. So one is the roll number, then name, and marks of 3 subjects. So for student we have the data member, roll number, then name, and mark of 3 subjects. Okay, then mark of 3 subjects, rather than mark of 3 subjects we can mention the variables m1, m2, and m3. Okay, then we have the another class, that is a class result. So in the result class we have to display the result, the student is pass or fail, or in percentage. Okay, so in this result. In result, we have to define the result. So to define a result, I define one string of 10 size, and um, percentage is again the one variable. Okay. So percentage is of type float. Okay, and result is again 10, so it's a type of char. Now, what exactly happened here? Here it has two class. One is the base class, another one is the child class. Base class is student. So student have roll number, name, and marks of three subject M1 and M3, and result has on the character result. Here we can print pass or fail, and another one is the percentage. If student is passed, then we have to calculate the percentage of the student. Okay. Now here we required three quantities. Okay. So So in this class, we have to create one result, and then after that, we have to print where he is pass or fail, and then we calculate the percentage. Okay. So these are the basics in structure of our single level inheritance. So single level inheritance. So we just go for the program now. Now here one important thing that here we require the three. So marks of three subject we required here. So we create a function which can send either here three or two options we have. Either we create a one function which are able to send the marks of three subject, or we can create three different functions. Okay. So both option we have. So which option we have to use? We have to select it. So for this program, we create a single function, and that single function are able to send the marks of three subjects. So just go for the program. So here we have to write hash include iostream.h, then hash include punio.h. Now for this program, we are going to print result pass or fail. So for same, we require one string, and for to operate on string, we require one function. So that is a string.h. Okay, these three are the header file which we have to mention here. So class student is there. Now the parts are there. One is the private, so it includes the roll number, pen name, and marks of three subjects. Now there are read and write functions. So public void read. So in read, you have to first receive the input from the user. So here we give the message cout, enter roll number, then name, and marks of three subjects. Then scene, you have to just receive this all inputs. So R underscore roll number, then name, input, and entry. Okay. So that for the write operation. So you have to Right. See out. Number. That are in the R underscore NO. Then name. So see out is there and name. So it's again in name variable. So marks is given. So M1, then M2, and we have to print M3, M3. Here we write M3, here M2. So likewise, we have to print M1, M2, M3 marks of all the three subjects. Now we create one function, it's important one, because we are creating the same function to return the all subject marks M1, M2, and M3. And now we create one function that is a RET marks. RET marks. So marks is int a. So a means what? If we pass 1, so then it will give you the return of m1. If you pass at a as a parameter 2, so it will return the marks of second subject. And if you pass a as a 3, so it will pass the marks of third subject. Okay. So here for the same, we write this logic. If a equal to 1, okay, so then it return m1. So marks of first subject will be written. So return m1. If a we got the value as a 2, if a equal to 2, so it will return the value of second subject. So return of m2. Okay. So at that time it return marks of second subject, that is a m2. Okay. And if a equal to 3, that means if it pass the below of as a 3, that means will return value of third subject. Now keep in mind we have just write a one function ret marks. Based on that, we are going to return the marks of three subject. If a equal to 1, then it return m1. If we pass a as a 2, then it return m2, and if a is equal to 3, then it return m3. So marks of third subject. So this is important function. We are right here. Here we end our class. That is student class is over here. Now we have to write the result class as per our planning of the program. So we write a class result. Now we have to inherit class student. Now we have to inherit a class student in result. So public and student is here. Is it okay? Now here are the two tasks we have to perform in class result. One, we have to judge whether the student is pass or fail, and second one is we have to calculate the percentage. Private care res pin, okay, pass or fail, and then float equal to percent PK. And then the next one is the public. So in public, you have to write a function. Like our first function is calculate. Okay. So in calculate, one more thing which you have to keep in mind. Remember the function name ret marks. Okay. Ret marks is the function name which return the marks. Ret marks is the function. So what calculate will calculate depend on that. So condition to check whether student pass or fail is what if ret marks ret marks 1, that means it will return the first subject marks 1 greater than equal to 40, and and ret marks 2, that means the second subject marks will greater than equal to 40, and ret marks 3 will be greater than equal to 40. If three subjects are greater than equal to 40, then the result is pass. So for pass, we use one function strcpy, and the variable which design res, in res we are assign it as a pass. Pass. Now it's also important for now. We are using the same variable res, and res will print either he is pass or fail. Now, out of two, only one condition is possible. Either he is a student will be pass or student will be fail. So if this condition is true, then the student will be pass. But if this condition is fail, then he will be. If this condition is not true, then definitely the student will be fail. So else the same function in the same variable we have to write is fail. Now if the student pass, so then we have to calculate the percentage. So to calculate the percentage, we have one variable PER. Now PER equal to RET marks. Our function name is RET marks. Okay. First subject's mark plus second subject mark plus third subject mark. Okay, into 0.33. Means what? The logic is that you have to multiply it by 100 and divide by 300. So 1 by 3. 1 by 3 means 0.33. Okay, or simple. Just we add this subject RET marks plus RET marks. Okay, we add these three subject multiplied by 100. Okay, we have to multiply this by 100 and divide by 300. As per our formula to calculate the percent. Okay, so now it need one more thing. Now if the all the datas are int, that means 5 into 100, and if we divide by 300, so it will give the answer in integer. Okay, in decimal. So we have to convert one of the number, either numerator or denominator, by to the float. So to convert this float, we multiply by 1.0. 1.0 means nothing but what? 1. Okay, so nothing but 1. But now 300 will not, no more integer, it will be the float because it's 300.0 now. So when one number is int and another one is float, so it will give the answer in float or in decimal also. So for the same, uh, we have to use this code. Okay, now we use one more function, that is a display, and in display function we will print all these things. Okay, provide the display cout result. So result is now in res variable. So we use that variable res into backslash n. Okay. Now it will print either he is pass or fail. Okay. So if the result is pass, okay. If the result is pass, then we have to display the result. Okay. So that means what? When the result is pass, when res contain the pass, that means res variable contain the pass string. Okay. PASS. So we check if strcmp, we compare this string strcmp, which one is res, okay, and it's equal to pass period 6. Okay, student is pass, then we need to print the percentage. Okay, so here equal to 0. That means what? It compare the string pass. If res is pass, and it will compare it with pass. If both are equal, then it will give the output as a 0, and then we can print the message. See out. See out percentage. Now percentage you are calculate in one variable. Percentage we are calculating one, the name of the percentage is PER. Okay. Backslash. Again, if this condition is passed, that means the student is passed. So you can print one message also here. See out. Congrats, you are passed. You are passed. Else, here see out. This condition is not passed. That means res not contain the string PASS pass. That means definitely the student will be fail. So here, then we have to print the message that uh, sorry, you are fail. Okay. So these are the all about the class result. So here the main important thing is that we define one function calculate. Okay, and in that function we require the three values. That means the marks of three subject, and we create a one function. Only one function we create in base class, that is in class student, and the name of important thing is that the RET marks function will return the marks of three subject. Okay. Now, if A is 1 is pass, A is equal to 1, then it will return the marks of first subject. If A is 2 equal 2 pass, then it will return the marks of second subject. Then if A equal to 3 is written, then mark of the third subject will be written out. And this mark, according to check, by checking this mark, is it greater than 40 or less than 40? We are assigned one variable pass, PASS pass, to the variable res. Res is a character type of variable having a 10, or we can say that it's an array of a character which are used to store the pass or fail word. If this condition is not true, then we assign the value fail, fail, IL, res. Okay, so then we display the result res, and if res is equal to pass, then we give the message that yes, the student is pass, and we calculate the percentage which we are calculating here by using this formula here. Okay, and if this condition is not true, that means if pass is not assigned, that means this condition is not true, then the student must be failed. Okay. Now, access all both the classes, function of both the classes, we require the object. And to create an object, we require a main function. So void main. Then we always create the object of base class. Sorry, child class. It's a result. So result are obj. So class name result are obj. So then CR SCR ROBJ is the, we say, it's nothing but the object of result variable. Now first we call read function. Now as we create the object of the base class, so by default, sorry, object of the child class, so by default base class, public part of the base class are inherit, and if the public part of the base class are inherit in the child class, so by the object of child class or the subclass, you can access all the member functions of the base class. So we can write here robj.read. Okay. Then our next function is calculate. So robj dot next one is write. So robj dot write. The next one is robj dot display. Okay. So in this way, we have to, okay, and here we write the bits. Write and display. So this function where result is display. Calculate is the function where we calculate the student is pass or fail depending on that percent. Then the return rate will be receive and print the output. So we just save this result. Okay. When you're going for compile this parameter, just for function containing some if statement or not. Mark actually okay. Roll number and marks of 3 subjects. So say roll number 23, name is Mahesh, marks of 3 subjects are 45, 56. So here we get the result. Okay, all the things we are print on the screen. Then we roll number is what, mark is what, and we calculate the result as per that calculation. Okay, so these are the final output of the program. Just take a look at this if you have any doubt or any query. So you can ask me, no problem. Yeah, any issue or so I give you 5 minutes. So meanwhile, if you have any doubt or so you can ask me. Okay, so now we will cover the next topic, that is a multi-level inheritance. Okay, so in multi-level inheritance, exactly which program or what we have to do. So first, take a look of this. We have one class with student. In this, we have two data member. One is roll number and marks. So name and roll number. Name and roll number. Then second class with marks. One and two. But for the result, calculate percentage. Whether this one is percent. So this thing we have to perform. One by one, we are going for this. So it's nothing but the multiple. Yes. This thing we have to perform. So again, it's simple. First we create class student. So it's a going to do two file. One is the file string, another one is the full. So hash include file string dot h hash include full dot h. So we represent one class, that is student. So then here we define two data member. One is the name and another one is the roll number. Int roll underscore no. Okay. Now we have to define a public part. So the public is read method void read. Now name and roll number. Name. Just we take a two parameters from here, that is a iterate, and we just read these two values, name and roll number. Okay. Now there is another class, that is a class marks colon public of student. That means it inherits the public part of the class too. This is so syntax practically. Here we require three subjects, that is private part, second int m1, m2, m3. So to read this or to enter the value of this, we have to again write one more function. So we write read marks, because read function we already use in cout, enter marks of three subjects, enter marks of three subjects. So here class mark is ended. The next one is the class result. So class result, how it inherit the class mark. Okay, public of mark, public part is inherit here. So the class name is mark, so I have to write marks. So again private, it contains the percentage, so we have to write float percent now public. So here we done some calculation, so we write a method calculate and display. Okay, so what calculate. Now here one more question is arise. If you have to use the M1, M2, M3 directly in this calculate, so you can't use it because M1, M2, M3 in the class marks. We have to create one function that will return the value of M1, M2, M3, which we had done in earlier program. Or till if you have to use this data member in the inherit class, so use the access specifier as a protected. So protected is view as a public and private both. So it will allow you to give the access to the class which inherit it, but it will not give the access to the outsider class. Okay, so as now I done here m1, m2, m3. So if m1 greater than equal to 40 and m2 greater than equal to 40 and m3 greater than equal to 40. Okay, here is cout. Congrats, you pass. calculate the percentage, P are equal to M1 plus M2 plus divided by 3.0. So 100 multiplied by 100 divided by 300. So it will be 3 and 3.0 because we want answering float values. Okay. So we calculate the percentage here if the student is pass. Only in that case. Okay. So else thing is that the student will fail. So else of this is that here we just print out, see out, and we have to mention that sorry, you are fail. Now one function is remaining, that is function. We are going to print name, roll number, and this results. So the result we already print in calculate function. So now in display here we have to mention parameters void display. So again, if we have to print name and roll number in this class, in class marks, name and r underscore no is private. So again, make it a protected. So you can directly access it. So it behave as a public for the class which inherit this class. And marks is also we done here protected. So now each thing we can print in the display function. See out display function in previous class.